Hey everyone, it's Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review for something I literally watched yesterday and could not remember just now that I needed to review it for you guys. One thing that maybe you'll enjoy, maybe you won't, maybe you'll care, maybe you won't about what I have to say. Captain America 4 Brave New World came out last year in 2025, and of course, this is the first MCU Captain America movie that does not have Steve Rogers as Captain America. The Falcon took over after the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. And I didn't watch that show. I have no reason to watch that show aside from Bucky, who I love. But I wanted to give this movie a shot. I mean, we all heard about all the many issues with it. It was reshot like 3 or 4 times. The budget was insane because of all the reshoots. And it just didn't sound promising. But there's 2 things about this movie that made me want to check it out. Number one, obviously, like in the comics, they did the whole Sam Wilson becomes Captain America. It didn't work out so well. I wasn't excited for that, but I like Anthony Mackie, and I was hoping that this would be something solid for him, but the reshoots did not give me a lot of confidence for that. I love the first 3 Captain America films, mainly Winter Soldier and Civil War, I think are masterpieces in the MCU. But I was hoping that this would be good. I've been eyeballing it at Walmart forever, and I'm so thankful that I rented this on Amazon Prime instead of buying a copy for $20 because I'll never watch this again. It was so bad. The other thing that had me excited was Harrison Ford playing the Red Hulk, which that's not a spoiler. They teased that in the trailer, and I was curious what they would do with that. And on both fronts, Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford, I feel so ripped off. Even for like the $3 or $4 I paid to rent this movie, I feel ripped off and angry. This is such a bad movie. In every facet that you could imagine, it is. I think a lot of that has to do with the guy directing. I feel like he wasn't ready for this kind of movie. There's like 7 writers on this film or something. Probably even more that we don't even know about. And essentially, the general concept of the film is that Harrison Ford is playing Thunderbolt Ross after William Hurt died in real life. And I loved William Hurt. He was so good, man. And a lot of this movie is a tie back to one of his older films, The Incredible Hulk, just so you know. And I won't tell you how, but that's a big part of this movie. And I had forgotten a lot of that film because it's been so long since I watched it, even though I love that flick. I really do. It's probably my favorite of the Hulk movies that have come out over the years. So anyway, Harrison Ford is playing that role, and he has to take over as, General Ross, who now becomes president. And almost immediately, there's an assassination attempt on his life at a White House negotiation. Not even a negotiation, more of like a press conference. A very weird press conference, by the way, with these big windows that project images. They now have a discovery of this thing called adamantium, which you and I know is basically the same thing that's inside of Wolverine. And so they're kind of teasing more X-Men stuff here. They were teasing more mutant stuff that apparently got cut out of the movie entirely. Harrison Ford absolutely gives one of the worst performances I've ever seen from him. Now, he's older. I can't blame him for this. Apparently, from what I understand, he wanted to be in the movie. He came to Marvel saying, hey, I'd really love to be in a Marvel film. Apparently, this is the one they agreed on for Thunderbolt Ross after William Hurt died. And I'm cool with all that. I think Ford was given one of the worst scripts in Marvel history. And that's up there with like Dark World, Shang-Chi. I think Captain Marvel is better than this, to be honest with you. I think Captain Marvel's fairly watchable compared to shit like this and Shang-Chi. I'm actually dumbfounded. If I'm so spread out in this review on how I talk, if it takes me moments to talk about things, it's because there's so much horse shit in this movie that just makes it worse in hindsight and while you're watching it. I tried desperately to give this a chance. I'm not one of those people who just run in and say something is bad because it looks bad or because of some kind of political issue. And this film was surrounded with that. I'm convinced that's the reason it was reshot a bunch of times as some kind of current dayism political messaging that was going to make the movie flop even harder, probably. And then they had to redo it. That's what I'm convinced happened here. But anyway, Falcon is still trying to get used to being Captain America, but he's more of like Captain Falcon. We all used to call him that in the comics back in the day. Again, it was terrible. And it doesn't help in this movie constantly having characters come up and tell him, you are the best option for Captain America, you inspire people, you can do it like no other. What the fuck are you talking about? Where are you getting that from? In what way does he motivate anyone, child or adult, to want to be better, the way Steve Rogers did? He doesn't even live up to that, and the film doesn't play enough on how he doesn't live up to that, and that's unfair to Anthony Mackie, who I think, again, is a solid actor. He's not a leading man. He's a good B-character actor for like TV, or in this case with the MCU. I think Falcon is a good right-hand man to Captain America, for me personally. Mackie's great at that. He's not a leading man. He's just not. He's so wasted here, and I feel bad for him, you know? And Harrison Ford is wasted here, too. Again, one of the worst scripts I've ever seen. Red Hulk, which he becomes, for 5 minutes in this fucking movie. By the way, there's barely any actual, cool fighting action scenes that are done by, an FX department at some outsourced company. There's barely any of that. It's almost always these horrifically goofy action fight scenes and these terrible, terrible, terrible conspiracy theory ideas that are, so sloppily written and added onto each other to try to make a cool mystery that never becomes cool. And again, a lot of stuff tying back to the Incredible Hulk and not the good parts of it. You even have a side character in here played by the guy that played Gus from Breaking Bad. I'm so sick of his face. I'm so tired of seeing his ass and everything that he pops up in. He's not that good of an actor. He's a one-trick pony, and he's obnoxious. He irritates me. I don't blame him for the bad script and the bad directing. But he's annoying, and I don't like him. I don't care how much everybody loves Breaking Bad. I love Breaking Bad, too. I can't stand that guy. So yeah, get over it. And then there's another chick in here who's kind of like the right-hand man protection Secret Service person, who's apparently supposed to be even bigger of a deal, not only in this movie, but the MCU. She's 4 feet tall, and I don't know what it is about her. Her voice, some kind of thing about her. I can't figure out what it is, but she disgusts me. She's 4 feet tall, and she's no joke, probably 60 pounds soaking wet, and she beats up everybody. And there's reasons for that. Some in the movie, some not. I can't stand her. And she's such a big part of this movie that just grates at my nerves. Between her and the new guy who wants to be the new Falcon that's best friends with Anthony Mackie in this movie, both of them grate my nerves. Both of them have really no reason to be in here. And it just has too much going on in it, overall. But she especially irritates me. They try to pretend like she is such an important character. I don't even know her name. I don't know anything about this bitch. I know nothing about her. She is awful. Her performance is awful. And you can say all you want about writing and directing. No, this is a clear case of absolutely awful miscasting for whoever, even as a nameless, no-name sidekick character to protect the president. She's awful, right? Now, one of the people involved in the assassination attempt, this is not a spoiler so much. One of the people that's involved in that attempt on Harrison Ford's life is a guy that Anthony Mackie and the new Falcon are friends with, who's an old super soldier. He was one of the first Captain America types, and he was wrongly experimented on by the U.S. government. He's very bitter about that. He's a bitter old man. His actor's awful. He's just... The writing for him is bad, and his actor is awful, and I can't stand him either. The movie is filled with people I can't stand, and people who have no reason to be lead actors except for Harrison Ford. It is so embarrassing to go from a solid movie like the original Cap to then Winter Soldier and Civil War that are some of my top 5 picks in the whole franchise, to then having bullshit like this. In everything from the music editing to the way scenes are shot, it seems like every time we cut to a new scene, it's like people framed in a way. It's such a still shot in a way that they'll be in a hallway talking, and it's filmed so flat that it just takes you out of the movie. You can feel the reshoots. You can feel the amateur filmmaking here for someone who was not ready to make a big ass budget movie like this. I bitched over the years over movies being bad like Dark Knight Rises, that there's so much of it missing that it just ruins that movie, and some of the ideas for it ruin that movie. But I could take that any day of the week over top of something like this. And it's not just because this feels like amateur hour. It feels like no one gave a shit. It feels like this movie should have been canceled entirely and never released. That's what I think it should have had to protect it. And that may have not been fair to Anthony Mackie or Harrison Ford, who wanted to be in this, like I said. But I would rather this not come out and them be protected and still make their money, even though they had to waste so much time constantly remaking this crap. It wants so hard to be a new Winter Soldier, and it takes so much from Winter Soldier, at least it thinks it does, for execution of fight scenes and whatever. These people are not the same people who made like the Russo brothers' Winter Soldier or Civil War. It's not clever like those movies. It's not smart like those movies. It doesn't have surprises like those movies do. And again, the thing that they tried to suck you into this movie with was Red Hulk, and he's in it for like 5 minutes. And it's such a terrible, nerfed version of what I know about Red Hulk. I've never even read Red Hulk before, but it's such a nerfed version of what he is that I can't even get over how much this movie irritates the shit out of me, and no wonder I forgot all about it by this morning. And there's like even a subplot in here about Harrison Ford's Ross being upset that even when he becomes the president, his daughter, Betty, won't talk to him. Now, I hadn't even thought about until the other day before I decided to watch this that we had not seen Betty in the MCU since The Incredible Hulk. I don't think she was in anything. She wasn't in the Avengers, was she? As far as I remember, we haven't had a Mark Ruffalo and Betty moment, as far as I can recall. And it makes the Hulk even worse in the MCU. I already hate how he's portrayed unless he's destroying things, but the character himself, Ruffalo's terrible performance in those movies, or not those movies, but those appearances of his. I don't like Ruffalo anyway as an actor. I think he annoys me, like a lot of people in this movie do. But his Hulk and his Bruce Banner are so disrespected that we don't even have a Betty, and I hadn't even thought of that all these years, and I've never thought of that. And it's not in a good way, like the old '70s show with Bill Bixby, you know. So anyway, I'm agitated, I'm annoyed, because I'm a Captain America fan, at least for the movies, and I was hoping that Mackie would get a chance to shine, and I was hoping that Harrison Ford would be super cool here. It's bad. It's bad, and even stuff I was mildly intrigued by checking out, like the Secret, what is that show called? Secret Invasion with Sam Jackson. Stuff like that, I have no interest. Stuff like the new Daredevil, I have no interest. Stuff like, again, Falcon and Winter Soldier, that was before this by like 4 years. I have no interest anymore. I have no interest in even mildly checking that out. And I have no respect for anybody involved with this movie at this point because of how insanely shameful it was. I don't know. I can't be the only one who feels this way about even down to things that I nitpick in this review, like backgrounds and clear reshoots on green screens and blue screens that are so insanely obvious there's no words for it. I can nitpick this all day long, but nothing... Well, you know what? I have one more I actually want to say. I am so tired of movies now, for some reason, doing this shit, and I saw it back when The Batman came out. The Matt Reeves' The Batman came out, where we have decided to all of a sudden shoot the outside peripherals of a movie in fucking blurriness. And they do it here. And it'll jump from shot to shot and scene to scene where it'll be blurry around the outside, edges of the screen. You'll have characters that will literally be standing beside Anthony Mackie and they'll be blurry. They did this in The Batman. There's particularly a press conference in The Batman that irks the hell out of me. It is one of the ugliest choices in movie history for a trend and a fad that I have ever seen in my life. You have got to stop this, Hollywood. There is nothing uglier than that to me. I can take bad CGI all day like this movie has, by the way. I can take bad action scenes and goofy fight scenes like this movie had, by the way. I cannot take when I pay money to watch your terrible ass movies that I have almost no excitement for and maybe a tiny teensy bit of hope, and I pay for it and I watch it, and you have the gall to make the movie either a giant joke like Thor Love and Thunder, or you make the movie blurry like this, or like The Batman, which contaminate both. And The Batman's not even that bad of a movie. It's just not great, but that makes it worse. Every time I watch it, I hate it more because of things like that. Stop doing this blurry edges shit. Stop doing it. It's not cool. It's not fun. You art house pretentious fucks can say that you like it all you do in your little schools. The rest of us, the paying audience who have to pay to sit through this shit, when we're actually kind of excited or hoping something will be decent or worth a watch, and then you do that. We feel ripped off when you do that. I can't be the only one who hates this about new movies. So anyway, that's my rant about Captain America, Brave New World. It's awful. It's easily the worst of the Captain America films. It's easily one of the absolute worst movies in the series. The whole MCU. Like I said, Thor Love and Thunder is worse than this. Shang-Chi is worse than this, probably. I don't know. Maybe I like Shang-Chi more than this. It's hard to decide. Dark World. I hated Thor Dark World for the longest time. I think I like that more. I think I like this, or that, more than this movie, to be honest with you. Which is really hard for me to do because I hate Thor Dark World. I think it's awful. So anyway, what are your irritations, annoyances, whatever, with this terrible-ass movie? Did you even bother to watch it? Are you going to bother watching it? And again, I'm somebody who was excited to see it, sorta, because I had a couple of things I wanted to see it for. And even the conspiracy stuff let me down with this. It's such an awful mess, dude. What has happened to the MCU? I can't even fathom it. You have like 3 good movies since 2019, and that's it. You know? So anyway, what do you think about the film? Put your thoughts and comments down below. Do you think they deserve to get a new Anthony Mackie Cap Falcon movie? Do you think that'll ever happen? Do you think they'll even bother since Chris Evans is coming back for Doomsday? I hope that they keep him and get the fuck out of here with this Anthony Mackie shit. This was not a good beginning to it, nor do I think they had much of a chance to do something good with him. But they've already flopped. They've wasted it. This movie flopped. The opportunity's dead. No one wants it at all anymore. The only people who like this are shills. There's no way you can watch this movie and see how poorly made it is and tell me that you actually genuinely think it's good. I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that. Anyway, thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.